Hello my dear, and welcome to our military vlog from Dnipro, central Ukraine. Right now I'm standing in a very peaceful place. It is a park in one of the universities in the city, and behind me you can see the alley of sakuras, which was planted maybe 10 years ago, and now the trees are big, and in general you can see that spring has overtaken its rights over winter, and now the weather is much better than it used to be. 1 week before that we had heavy rainings, and because of this heavy rainings, this counter-offensive that was advertised, promised and waited since winter is not happening, but we hope that when the weather will be more dry, it will be successful and successful military operations will start. So basically, from the front line point of view, the situation is not changing, and we can see that the front line is more or less stable, with the worst military actions happening near Bakhmut. But from the civilian point of view, the situation here is quite severe. This was the week when, after probably 1 month of break, Russians started rocket strikes, and we had repeated air strikes. This night today was the third airstrike that I can recall, and the most severe was with big rockets, X-555 they called, or X-101, and they were targeting different infrastructure objects both in the city and in the region, and the most affected city was Pavlograd, where about 600 households were damaged because of the arrivals. And in Dnipro also they tried to hit the manufacturing facilities, and also they tried to hit the power plant and power spreading stations. But usually the rocket strikes are not successful, because rockets are very imprecise and they cannot basically hit what they want. If you look at the map of the city and you look at the biggest arrivals, especially when it hits a residential building, we usually talk with each other and try to guess. Actually, we are playing the guessing game, what was the initial target, because the rocket, for example, can fall right in between of two objects. We all here know more or less where everything is located and what can be the strategic objects that might be targeted, but usually these literally results, they are not happening in the places where we expected. So basically it can be a middle of the road, it can be a residential building, as it happened now. It also near my place in the city, it hit the building that they probably were targeting, but it was the abandoned building for many years actually, and it means that just that the intelligence was not working properly. So this is basically not the airstrikes with the aim to destroy something which we potentially can use for the military actions, but it is more about terror, it is more about striking civilians and terrorizing civilians. And today we had the drone attack, and it was massive. This one was more successful. Usually our anti-missile hits drones, but this one was too massive, more than 20, maybe 26 if I remember correctly. 26 drones were hitting us, and that means that basically some of them would fall, and there were arrivals to oil reservoir, for example, but this was not inside of the city. Luckily we just hear these air sirens in the places where they can be heard, or in my case I just watch them on my phone, and we are very stressed over each siren now, because we know that they had this month to prepare and that they have enough rockets to hit anything, and when the rocket flies, it's just like flying. As for the humanitarian situation, except rockets, we basically have everything. We have all food in the supermarkets, and we don't have such a big arrival of new refugees. This situation is the same as about months ago when I recorded the previous video, and from this perspective we are more or less secured. But the frontline villages, they need this food supply. They rely on the international help, and volunteers have to bring them food because businesses are not working there. So in the city the humanitarian situation is more or less okay, but if you go closer to the front line, you see that it's not the same over there. And as for the situation with medicines, we have them, and the city is looking very different in the aspects where you look. Basically, if you look this way, you see a man in uniform. If you look this way, you can see a military car, and if you go to the park, you can see sakuras and you can enjoy yourself. And also, probably it's not the biggest issue for you, but the McDonald's reopened in Dnipro, and we had a huge queues to eat because for people it's more like a symbol, and it's not about probably hamburgers or cola, but it is about the political decision and about the trust of the company that city is becoming more safe. That's it. That's what's going on in the city. Again, the spring is coming, and we are hoping for this counteroffensive. Probably you know it. The rocket strikes are intensified. The rockets are still not precise, hitting everything. Residential buildings are suffering, and otherwise the help which is needed is the same. We are coming to hospitals. We are helping those refugees whom we have for a while, for hygiene items, for diapers, for example, and waiting for what's happening on the front line, waiting for the changing of the situation, and then we can see what will be needed. That's it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that the next spring it will be the time when you can come and see this place yourself. I will be more than happy to show you around. Thank you for your love, your donations, your support, and I hope to see you under better circumstances. Goodbye for now.